Okay, good evening. It is October 10th. This is Debbie Davis. Okay, so the last video that I did, I had made that phone call to the FBI in Chicago. And I was trying to report different things happening with crimes that were happening regarding like cybersecurity crimes involving my own sister in Chicago. So they never contacted me. The FBI never contacted me. Same thing happened. And same thing happened when we had issues at the military base in Phoenix, where we uncovered, I uncovered this $2.7 million embezzlement scandal, and I was trying to report that to the FBI in Phoenix, and they never responded. We noticed that there was something going on, and we tried to contact the FBI, and it turned out that I don't know if you are familiar with this whole series that has come out, but I'll link it to the bottom of this video. But it did finally come out that John McCain was funding ISIS, and and he was actually executed for treason. For that reason, that's why he had at his funeral he had a wrinkled flag, not a straight flag. That's the sign of treason. Okay, so it talks about it in the 9th video of the Fall of Cabal series that I have sent out to a few people, but I will put it in the link here. But it did finally come out that, so what I was uncovering at my military base in Arizona was like a money laundering thing and a weapons laundering thing, and it all linked back to the McCain Institute. And then Trump figured out that McCain was the one involved, and eventually had him executed. So this is all coming out now, and we at the time in 2011 were trying to, when I worked there 2010 and 11 at that particular job where I was working as an admin NCO, where I was back and forth from the finance office because I had to do payroll and different things, and I was working right at the main base at Papago Park. There was a lot of things that we were noticing, and so it became pretty obvious that there was something going on to several of us, like admin NCOs there, that we were like the admin clerks for the units. And we tried to mention it through our chain of command and everything like that, and nobody did anything. And then, all the way up to the general, like nobody did anything. So then we tried to call the FBI. They didn't do anything. So then we ended up finally contacting a military liaison guy to the governor's office, and then he ended up reporting it to the Arizona Auditor General. And so it was kind of like, some random person that we finally got a hold of that did actually do their job, so that's how they ended up finding the $2.7 million missing. And so, but it took like all these different steps for something to actually happen when all these people had been contacted that should have been doing their job, but they didn't. The whole chain of command, the FBI, and then the same thing in in South Dakota. I was still Minneapolis and South Dakota, because when I moved back from Arizona, I was getting all this harassment from Arizona because of what I helped uncover there, and death threats and everything. And I literally had death threats, all kinds of harassment right on my phone. And I went into the Minneapolis FBI when I had originally moved back here, like 2013, and they just said, we don't know who that number is, so we don't know how to help you. And I was like, so you're just gonna let me leave with these literally just like death threats right on my phone, So they didn't do anything. And same thing in South Dakota, they didn't do anything. So I mean, I have zero respect for the FBI. Zero respect. I don't have any idea why they even get a paycheck. I mean, if you're not doing your job, why do you get paid? In fact, you're like on the deep state side where you're against the human people, against America, then you most assuredly should not get a paycheck. I mean, you've pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, the FBI's proven to be completely in the deep state side, which is like the covert side, which, I mean, they just went to the bad side. There's the overt side of the government and the covert side. And what has happened over the years is that a lot of people have been bribed with money to go to the other side, like to go to the covert side of the FBI, the covert side of the CIA, the covert side, because they get paid more. And then they just they've corrupted all these agencies that way with money. So that's just what happened, and I saw it firsthand for myself. And so anyway, they haven't done anything, but I have all kinds of evidence still that I am reporting to the local police in Chicago. So anyway, so they're still going after Trump all the time, and just throwing everything they can. And this guy Jack Smith that's been after him, I mean, he was, I believe, the same guy that blocked his Twitter account. And I believe is one of the co-owners of Square, which is a merchant company. And I've been having all kinds of problems with Square because I own a company, and I've been having all kinds of weird problems with my Square merchant account. And it turns out that, I looked up different things about Square, and it turns out that this Jack Smith guy is one of the owners of Square as well. So that's probably the reason why I'm having problems with them jacking me around right now. Literally, Jack Smith, jacking me around. So, because I believe he's a co-owner of Twitter and Square. I don't really know. I haven't done the full research, but I think he's associated with both of those companies. And so I've had this Squares, like it just makes it convenient when when you go to these shows and different things like that. They have the card readers, put it in a Square card reader, or and I haven't had a problem until just recently. I just had all kinds of weird problems, and I think it's because I'm trying to support Trump, and they're just going after me. They go after any kind of Trump supporters. I mean, these people have no sense of decency, no sense of, I'm just a business owner and a citizen of the United States, and you're gonna, they'll go after anybody. It doesn't matter. I serve my country. They don't have any loyalty or respect or anything, these deep state people. And Jack Smith is a deep state person. Okay, so So anyway, it's a witch hunt after him that has gone on because they're so intimidated by him being able to get in office again, because they know that there's going to finally be justice, real justice, once and for all. Because there hasn't been real justice in years. But he is not playing the game, the global game, because these people are just too evil. It's just it's like you can be like, oh yeah, that's funny at some point, but at some point when you realize, how evil it's gotten, at some point you just need to be like, okay, this is not funny anymore. Whatever you think, you're like, whatever you think is cool at one point, and then you realize how evil these people are, it's not cool anymore. These people are pure evil. Okay? It's not cool anymore to be evil. Like the Kardashians are witches, in case you don't know. And if you don't remember that Travis Scott concert in Houston, there was 10 kids that died or something like that. And that was that Travis Scott was dating that Kylie Kardashian, and Kylie Kardashian is a witch. She's a high-level witch. The Kardashians are high-level witches. Okay? And this is nothing to play around with, this witchcraft stuff. And, you think you go to these movies and, see this Harry Potter and everything, and they act like Hollywood makes you feel like, oh, it's cool or something. It's cool to have these powers, but in order to have these powers, you have to sell your soul to Satan, and then he gives you temporary powers. Okay, but it's not. But there's always a price to pay when you have these type of powers from the dark side. Okay. So that's what nobody is explaining, and the church should be explaining this, but they're not. And but there's when you become a Christian, you get gifts of the Holy Spirit. You get there's all kinds of gifts for the Holy Spirit that God will give you and become a Christian. There's some people have the gift of prophecy, some people have the gift of they have all kinds of different anointings and discernment. I have the gift of discernment, anointing. So, but then there's no strings attached. It's not like I owe God something for these gifts that he's given me. But when you become a Satanist, it's like when he gives you gifts, there's a price to pay. There's always a price to pay. Like, okay, I'm going to give you this, but then you got to sacrifice so many kids or something, or you got to do this for me or whatever. Okay. And this is what nobody's explaining, is that there's prices to pay for this type of power on the dark side in these gifts. And it's not cool. It's not cool at all. Nancy Pelosi was also a witch, and I said was. I did say was, because she was executed. Okay, Nancy Pelosi was executed December 27th, 2022, for treason. And all right, so right here, it was a military operation. Okay, and because and so whoever you're seeing in the news right now is not the real Nancy Pelosi. They're making up some kind of fake. You have to understand, it's fake news to begin with. I mean, they can just they can put a picture up, but it's not a current picture of her. She's been executed since December 27th, 2022, because she was a witch, and she was also committing treason against the public, because they got a hold of her computer. The white hats, the good guys, and they found all kinds of treasonous things that she had been doing. So when they got a hold of her computer, they finally just had all the evidence on her that they needed to indict her. Okay, so that is what happened. So Nancy Pelosi was a witch, and I don't know if you. I remember in Congress, but when she was trying to shake Trump's hand, and he pulled away, and he was like, he didn't want anything to do with her. He didn't want to touch her or anything. That's because he knew she was a witch, and that he was, she might have some kind of potion on her, where she was try to put a spell on him or poison him or something. This is a witch. She was a very evil witch. Okay. And this is a real thing. It's not like, the witches are still around. I mean, they're everywhere. There's a big witch coven right in St. Paul here. There's a huge witch community right in Minnesota here. And hardly anybody's talking about it. And especially in California and certain states, and they're very, they have a lot of power, more than what you think. And so, if you have anybody that that's a witch, it's not anything to play around with. These people are evil. And then, another person that was a witch is the Bushes, Barbara Bush, and she was a witch, and she was a part of stealing all of the gold from our gold reserves that were supposed to be at Fort Knox. The Bushes and the Clintons, the Trump administration found out that they had stolen all the gold out of Fort Knox, so we didn't have any gold left. They've never did any kind of story on it, but over the years, apparently all of our gold had been disappearing, and then they did end up finding it, and it was found in the tunnels in the Vatican. Because there was apparently in like 1890, there was some kind of something enacted where the United States was put into a corporation with the Vatican and London. And so Trump had dissolved that when he became president and brought us back to a republic. And then because of that, he was then able to go to the Vatican and get what was actually rightfully as ours back. And it took 650 plane trips to get all of the gold back that had been stolen from our country. So, these are the things that you're not hearing about on the news, that you should know about. So about the good things that have happened, and what's really going on with this witch hunt and these real witches. So, if you, I just would encourage, any kind of mother or father to just really keep your kids far away from all these Harry Potter things or any kind of witchcraft. Because there was a situation right here locally in Osseo, Minnesota, where they were apparently tried to sneak into right into the curriculum, witchcraft, right into the curriculum of like the junior high. And some mother found out because her daughter, was doing some kind of witchcraft stuff, and she, was asking her where she learned how to do that, and she said right in school. Right in Osseo school. So, so there's, they're trying to like sneak it in even without like the parents' knowledge. sometimes. So you have to be very aware of this type of thing, because it's really dangerous. It's extremely dangerous, way more than what you realize, because they can, the spells that they can put on people and the power that they can tap into to damage you is very real. Okay, so, all right. Okay, I just wanted to touch base on this tonight. Okay. All right. We're hanging in there. Hopefully there'll be some good changes soon. All right, God bless.